Hey guys, welcome back to Music Talk with John. Today I am doing a video based off of something I ran across yesterday, and I was just kind of like looking for new people in the VC that I haven't come across yet, and I found two new people. And the first one that I found, he actually had something kind of cool that I liked, so I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and do his thing, and I realized he had gotten his idea from somebody else. So the person I found was Harris Pilton. Now, I don't know if that's he calls himself Harris. He says, hey guys, Harris here. So I don't know if it's a play off of Paris Hilton, but it says Harris Pilton. So he's at Harris Pilton 22. And he got his idea from Dale, and looking here at Gatefold 33. So I don't know if you guys have heard of these guys or anything, but they're new to me. And what the idea was is vinyl community, when one album is enough. Artists where I just need one album. And that's not, they were explaining, it's not you have a whole collection of, like I have a collection of Billy Joel. What's the best one? This is the only one. When you still like a bunch of other ones. What is an artist that you just have one album by them? You know they have a bunch of albums, but it's just the one that sticks out to you. So I like this idea. So I decided to, there we go, I'm going to pop myself down a little bit. I decided to go ahead and go with that theme. What I have here is Maria McKee. Now she was with Lone Justice in the 80s, and they were like kind of a country pop band, had a feel to them. But this is Maria McKee. You Gotta Sin to Be Saved. I always get it wrong. Really a good album. If you know anything about the Jayhawks, they're pretty much the backing band on this. And she's got a nice soulful voice. And it had a, I think I'm Gonna Soothe You as a single. I don't know how much airplay it got. I'm gonna soothe you. Hey, hey, hey. She has two Van Morrison songs on here and one that Carole King wrote. I looked it up, but I didn't see anything about Carole King actually performing it. The one Van Morrison song is My Lonely Sad Eyes, and it was when Van Morrison was with the group Them. But I guess Van Morrison actually wrote the song, but it was when he was with Them at that point. And also there's the way young lovers, what is it? Blah, 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 where is it? The Way Young Lovers Do, and that's a Van Morrison song off of Astral Weeks. And then she did the Carole King song that she was a co-writer on. Carole King was a co-writer on, is I Can't Make It Alone. Before I left your side. And I found out that there's a Dusty Springfield version of this. Before I left your side. And the Righteous Brothers actually covered it. So anyway, this is one I have by her. I've heard other albums by her, but I'm just not really that interested in. And I listened to some of the Lone Star stuff and doesn't really stick for me. But this album, just from beginning to end. What's funny is when she went to go do the album after this, she commented that she really didn't like this album. So isn't that funny how that works out? All right, Adele, this one, 25. She has 4 albums out now, I think. And the last one, it seemed more of a concept album, and I just couldn't get into it yet. Maybe I need to listen to it some more, but I've already heard it twice at least. And whatever the single was off of, what is this, 25? So I guess the last one was 30, maybe? And I listened to the 2 previous, and they're good. It's Adele, but they didn't really stick with me like as far as full albums, and I don't own any of those. But this is the one. I think every song on this is really good. You know, this is the one I had Hello, that song, that hit that played over and over and over again. But, you know, just every song on here is just good. It's good production, good melodies, everything. So as far as Adele goes, this is the one that I have to have, and at this point is the only one that I would need. Then we have everybody's favorite band, Bon Jovi. Now people are going to go, what? New Jersey? You know, Slippery When Wet had Living on a Prayer and Wanted Dead or Alive. And, you know, I love those songs. You know, I grew up with those songs. But this album, believe it or not, is one that I like all the way through. Even with the crazy overproduced anthem of a beginning, Lay Your Hands on Me, that's on there. But I like it. It comes right in and boom, goes right into Bad Medicine. Just a good, fun rock song. So it's the fun that I have kind of like with Def Leppard kind of lyrics and things like that. But I like every one on here. This is one that I had on cassette as a kid. And the only one that I had on cassette, I think I have it on CD somewhere. Yeah. But I found this not too long ago, I think maybe last year. But yeah, this is the one I would have to keep by Bon Jovi. I'm keeping away from the typical while I'm doing this video. You know, I could pull out Stevie Nicks Belladonna. I was going to do Supertramp Breakfast in America, or maybe I did. Maybe I did do that one. We'll see. There's a couple, but I'm like, let's stay away from the typical. You know, the Eagles. The only one I have really by them is Hotel California. That's the one I'm mostly interested in. Sorry, Eagles fans. But some came out and I'm like, but everybody talks about these albums. So I kind of tried to stay away from that as much as I could. So we'll see how well I did with that. Next one is this one, Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. And they've had, you know, a couple albums, and Edie Brickell, I kind of count her solo stuff. A friend of mine's really into her stuff, and I really haven't gotten into it, and I probably haven't given enough time. So, but I have gone through her albums, and I've gone through the stuff that she's done with these guys, and this is the one for me. It's the only one that I own, and this is, you know, the big hit was the What I Am, but songs like Circle is really good. I think they might have used that in a movie. Air of December I like. This is just the album for me for Edie Brickell. This is the one and only for her. Then we have Leon Bridges. I think he's up to three albums now, and this was his first one from what I understand. Great, just good retro album, R&B, nice feel, like, you know, the horns and the good guitar, and, you know, not overproduced music. Now Leon, his next album, he got a little bit more slick, more produced, more into the programmed drum beats and things like that. And then by his third album, he really got in there. And I did have all those albums. I ended up getting rid of them because I just liked this Leon Bridges. And hey, you know, if he's going to grow as an artist, that's awesome. Good for him. I like who he is as a person. So it's nothing, you know, against him really. It's just, this is the sound I liked. And it was hard for me to adjust to that more modern feel when this had more of a retro feel to it. And this has, the big one on here is, where'd it go? River. Take me to your river. I wanna know. If you don't know that song, pull it up, check it out. But just a really good album on here. So check that out by Leon Bridges. Another one here. This is the only one I own by this dude, but I love this album. And I guess this is one, I guess it gets shown in the vinyl community, but not that much. It's not like, you know, Rumors and stuff like that gets talked about just about daily, you know, and Led Zeppelin 4 and, you know, just all the different things that we hear about. So, yeah, this one, Running on Empty, I mean, just, it's like a greatest hits album. You know, just all the way through, written partly, I think, on the road in hotel rooms and things like that. Running on Empty, The Road, Rosie, great song. I love The Thunder, Cocaine, Shaky Town, Love Needs a Heart, Nothing But Time, The Load Out, and Stay. I mean, just a great album. It's the only one I own by him. I like Jackson Browne, and just, that's the album for me. The other ones just have not stuck for me, and that one is just awesome. Lindsey Buckingham, Go Insane. Yes, very 80s produced, sounding, but I love it. I love the melodies. I like the just craziness of the sound effects and everything that he puts in here. And I've listened to several of his solo albums, and it's great. He's a good guitar player, but the songs just don't stick for me. Lindsey sometimes gets out there and more experimental, I guess, is what he's doing, and the songs just don't stick. I'm a singer-songwriter kind of guy. I like my lyrics, I like my melodies. I'm okay to go out and experiment a little bit, but when it's too much, it doesn't do much for me. But this album right here, even with the overproduced 80s stuff, all the songs have a good hook. Yeah, I've heard him do some of these songs live and acoustic, and the songs are great just like that. So this is more of a straightforward album for me. It's kind of like when he was with Fleetwood Mac, that kind of stuff, where it's good pop songs, and that's what it is, and not too crazy. That's probably why I don't like Tusk, because I thought Tusk was just too long and too experimental. Then this guy, I don't know if you've heard him before, shown this album before, and this is John Butcher. He has several albums. He has good blues albums, but nothing that's really stuck with me. But man, I love this album. I actually have 2 copies of this album because you don't find it that much, and I don't think a lot of people know what a treasure this thing is. It does have an 80s feel to it. It does have that production, and I wonder what it would sound like if they just took some of that reverb out of there. But this has Goodbye, Saving Grace, Living for Tomorrow, Wishes. If Wishes Were Horses and Dreamers Would Ride, if you ever heard that song, that's him. If wishes were horses, then dreamers would ride. And Prisoners of the Silver Chain, oh, I love that song. Such a nice, just sounding song. And Show Me Some Emotion, yeah, just good album. Only one I own by him. Like I said, he has several albums, but that's the one for me. Then Leonard Cohen. I have Greatest Hits by Leonard. I'm trying to get more into Leonard. The early stuff, I get sucked in by his lyrics, even though it's kind of, I don't know how you describe the early stuff, more standard sounding, or I don't know, something about it. But this is the album I have by him right here. And I'm excluding Greatest Hits too, so I do have a Greatest Hits, but I'm not talking about any Greatest Hits. If it's one album, this is the one album. So You Want It Darker, I mean, this is him towards the end of his life. There was one album that came out after this that I need to get. I think it's Thank You for the Dance. And, you know, it's a guy at the end of his life and just reflecting on things. Sort of dark, like Dark Star, David Bowie, that kind of thing. But You Want It Darker, Treaty, love that song because it's a guy in conflict, and I so relate to that song, because if you've been brought up with religion in your life and you get to a point and you start questioning those things, and then you get a lot of guilt and things like that come with it when you start standing up to what you really believe and what you've been told to believe. That's what Treaty is. And he's basically, man, I don't know the lyrics. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because it's so personal. Treaty here is, they don't have the lyrics. Oh, here we go. Yeah. And to write like this and not just come straight out and say something and just get the meaning, it's just amazing. I've seen you change the water into wine, so we know what we're talking about there, right? I've seen you change it back to water too. I sit at your table every night. I try, but I just can't get high with you. So he's saying, man, I get who you are, but So when he gets to the treaty part, I wish there was a treaty we could sign. I do not care who takes the bloody hill. I'm angry and I'm tired all the time.
I'm angry and I'm tired all the time.
I wish there was a treaty between your love and mine.
I wish there was a treaty between your love and mine.
Oh, it hits me because I so get what he's talking about here. And that's the best thing about music, when you find those songs that just hit home, and that's the one. So this is my one Leonard Cohen album. Then we have Colin Hay. He's had several albums since, and if you don't know who he was a lead singer of Men at Work. And he's had several albums come out since the end of Men at Work. But this one, I love from beginning to end. It's all covers. I just don't know what to do with myself.
I'm so used to doing everything with you.
It's a Dusty Springfield song that I didn't know until I heard this, and then I'm like, man. So I go back and listen to Dusty, and I'm like, man, that's a great song too.
I'm so used to doing everything with you.
So he does a good job with this, bringing those songs to life. And I believe he had recorded all these songs, and I think it was during the pandemic, that whole thing, 2021, so somewhere in there. But I think he recorded them, gave the recordings over to a friend, and the friend came back and added different things to it afterwards. Something like that. It has I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself, Waterloo Sunset, which is the Kinks, right? Listening to that made me go back and listen to the Kinks version. I'm not a Kinks fan, but I do like this version by the Kinks also. Wichita Lineman, which was, what's his name, Rhinestone Cowboy, Glenn Campbell. And that's a song I'm not big into, but I like what he did here. Norwegian Wood, can't beat that, right? Beatles, he does a good cover of that. Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying, and then Ooh La La, Driving with the Brakes On, Across the Universe, another Beatles song. And it's nice, it's acoustic, it's broken down, so I like what he did with it. Can't Find My Way Home, that's a good version of that from Blind Faith, and Many Rivers to Cross. So just a good one. This one, I guess this is one that people talk about a lot, but I guess I was trying to stay away from it, but Tapestry, if you don't know this album, it's like a greatest hits again. This is my Mo-Fi version of it. Feel the Earth Move, So Far Away, It's Too Late. Just those three songs right there were huge. Home Again, Beautiful, Way Over Yonder, You've Got a Friend, Where You Lead, Will You Love Me Tomorrow, just a great song. Smackwater Jack, Tapestry, and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. I mean, so many hits off this album. Roy Orbison, he had a lot of albums, but this is the one, the only one that I own. I'm not sure how his albums work. It's kind of, when I look through his discography, it's kind of weird. But this album, I mean, you know, the one that came out, I can't remember if it came out after he had passed away, when it was really released, or what. I think the single was out, he passed away, the album came out, something like that. Just some sadness that goes around this album, knowing what he put out here, the stuff he was doing with the Traveling Wilburys at the time, and man, just thinking there could be more, and it's kind of saddening. There are some songs that came out, I think, posthumously, that were just like, man, I think I Drove All Night, the Cyndi Lauper song, I think it might have been on an album. See, that's where I get confused with his stuff. But this is the one that I have from Roy Orbison, and it has You Got It, which was huge, right? In the Real World, A Love So Beautiful, oh, forget it. California Blue, beautiful song. The Comedians, The Only One, Windsurfer. I mean, this is an album of, Careless Heart, and it's just, Roy was able to take that sound he had, when was Pretty Woman? Was that, I get it mixed up, 50s, 60s, whatever, that sound right there of Pretty Woman, his standard, you know, that rock and roll sound, right? And make it more modern. And I think Jeff Lynne produced this. Yeah, I know he did, because I remember the documentary. So he was able to keep that Orbison feel and that operatic voice and give it a more modern feel, but I don't feel it's dated. So I think it's just a great album. Let's see. Well, this does get talked about a lot, but this is my one and only Prince album. The rest of them, I think there's a lot of filler. There's a lot of silliness on his albums. I don't like him when he gets too down and dirty, because it's just, I don't know what he's trying to do in those situations. But this is the only Prince album that I feel is solid all the way through. No issues. There are some good competitors, ones that come close, but every song on here, I mean, forget it. Let's Go Crazy, Take Me With You, The Beautiful Ones, Computer Blue, Darlin' Nikki. And that gets raunchy, but I don't know, there's something, it's a story. So, you know, he doesn't go too overboard, where there's some of his songs I'm just like, yeah, dude, really? Then you have When Doves Cry, I Would Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, Purple Rain. Yeah, forget it. So this is the one Prince album that I feel is essential. REM, a lot of stuff, obviously, but this is the one for me. Automatic for the People. The rest of their albums I can't get into. The one that came, I think, right after this was Monster, and they got really heavy and distorted, and that just didn't do it for me. This one, So Many Good Drive. When I first heard Drive, I'm like, I gotta have that album. I don't give a crap what else is on it. I want it.
Smash, crack, bush,
So you had Drive on here. Try Not to Breathe, this Everybody Hurts, of course, that's a huge, huge song. Great song too, right? Monty Got a Raw Deal, Starby Kitten, Man on the Moon. So there's three big ones. I think Drive, it's my favorite. Man on the Moon's grown on me, and you know, Everybody Hurts. You think you get tired of it, and it comes on, you're like, okay, I'll listen to it. But Night Swimming, all that. So I had 12 songs on here, and I love every song on this album. So this is the one REM. The rest of them I just have a hard time getting into, even though they had some good hits from those albums. Like, what was the one where he's like, Fire? This one goes out to the one I love. Love that song, but I don't get into the album. I almost wish you could put it on this one. That would have been great. I even like Shiny Happy People. And we have Red Hot Chili Peppers. Blood Sugar, Sex Magic. Love this one all the way through. I like Breaking the Girl. It's probably my favorite song on here. Give It Away is on this. What was the other one? Under the Bridge is on here. So, yeah. Blood Sugar, Sex Magic by Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're a great band, but it just starts sounding the same to me. And, you know, the variations, you know, probably a good greatest hits by them with this album, and I'll be good. The only one I can get into by Rush, right here, Moving Pictures. Again, a lot of other great songs, but the albums I don't get into, but Moving Pictures, I saw these guys live, and I loved it. And I'm glad I got to see Neil Peart and see one of his famous drum solos. A reasonably good distance to watch it, and just amazed by what he did. So, you know, it's a shame he had to pass too early. Tom Sawyer's on this, Limelight's on this, Vital Signs, Camera. Yeah, just a great album. And it's only 7 songs on here. But I like everything about this album, so this is the one for me by Rush. Billy Squier, several albums, but this is the one. Don't Say No, greatest hits, feeling album, just all the way through. The Stroke is on here, My Kind of Lover, best song on there, I think. Lonely as the Night. Even Right in the Dark, when he comes right in, it's a good rock album, just straight out good rock album. He's put out albums since this, but this is the album right here. It's like the must-have. So Breakfast in America, my Mo-Fi version. Yeah, the Logic song, Goodbye Stranger, Take the Long Way Home, forget it. I mean, right, but everything on here is good. Lord, Is It Mine, Just Another Nervous Wreck, Casual Conversations, Child of Vision. Just a good album all the way through. And the one, there's like Crime of the Century, I think, or something like that. But this is my must-have. Whitesnake, yeah, of course they had other albums. Yeah, but this is the one for me. And this is, you know, as a teenager when this came out, and maybe that's why it sticks, but I just love every song on this. I had slided in on cassette probably, or CD. And, you know, I liked most of it, but it was like, yeah, it's a good album, but not like memorable, right? But every song on this is like memorable for me. Crying in the Rain, Bad Boys, Still the Night, I just love that part. Here I Go Again, I like the updated version. I can't remember which album, was it on Slide It In? Original version of Here I Go Again, and then they came back and did it for this album. Give Me All Your Love, Is This Love, that was a big release. Children of the Night, Straight for the Heart, Don't Turn Away. Yeah, it had more ballads and stuff, power ballads and stuff on it, but this is just like my go-to Whitesnake album. I'm sure some people are like, oh my god, are you crazy? But it's the one for me. It's just how it works. The Who's Next? Yeah, I guess I do have more in here. I just try not to do that, but Who's Next? Yeah, just, you know, it's the only Who album I get into. Sorry, I know that, again, you got great songs through and out, but I just think there's a lot of filler on Who albums, and I just can't get into them completely. But Baba O'Reilly, Love Ain't for Keepin', Bargain, My Wife, Song Is Over, Getting in Tune, Going Mobile, Behind Blue Eyes, I mean, come on. Won't Get Fooled Again. I mean, just like a greatest hits, right? And this one, and I know she's very limited. She had Frank or something like that before this. And this might have been only her second album. I know it's very thin, her, because she died so, you know, started kind of late, died so early. But just a great album all the way through, the one I have to have. You know, Frank has some good stuff on it, but it's not this. This is where she was, boom, just that retro sound. She had that hairdo. She was fun to watch. She was like strangely attractive. There was, you know, roughness to her, but, you know, very lady, you know, she's just fun to watch. But has, you know, Rehab, You Know I'm No Good, two big ones right there. Me and Mr. Jones, Just Friends, Back to Black, great song. Love Is a Losing Game, Tears Dry on Their Own, Wake Up Alone, Some Unholy War, You Can Only Hold Her, and You Know I'm No Good. So just 3-4 big songs off of this. Yeah, just a great album, and just wonder what she would have done. You know, it's another one that kind of makes you sad. Going, man, where was she going? You know, but just had a lot of demons. That's what I have for you guys. Thanks for checking it out. If you guys have those albums in your collection where it's just that one that you have by artists that have a big collection, you know, think about doing a video like this. It's kind of fun. And until next time, I hope you guys are enjoying your music, and you take care out there, all right? Bye.